Hi, and welcome to this webinar by MNA Digital. It's called E-commerce 101. We're basically going to be having a look at a comparison of the key e-commerce platforms for SMEs and some best practices for increasing your sales online. So before we get started, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about MNA Digital, who we are. We're basically a digital marketing agency in Wolverhampton, brought to you by the publisher of the Express and Star and Shropshire Star newspapers. We're also part of a wider group, so we have a agency in London who kind of deals with larger clients like EasyJet and Taylor Wimpey. But in Wolverhampton, we specialise in web design, paid search and SEO, specifically for local businesses. So today, our presenter is Craig McNerlin, and he's a marketing and sales consultant who's been working with MNA Digital for a number of years. And he specialises in helping businesses drive performance online and has expertise in Google, Bing and Facebook. So without further ado, I shall hand you over to Craig now. There you go. Can you see that, Craig?
I can. Thanks, Natalie, and thank you everyone for joining us today on the webinar, looking at probably an important part of our business at the moment, e-commerce, and really trying to get an understanding of, with all the platforms out there, which is the best one for our business. And it's quite prevalent under today's trading conditions that whilst we've had quite a roller coaster 2020 so far, the one thing that's come out of it is that our website is probably at the heart of our business. And with all the businesses I do work with, the one question I'm asking them all now more than any other is, if you knew back at the start of 2020, around February, March time, what you actually know now, what is it you do differently? Because we have had an unprecedented 10 months. And when the questions that I ask get answers, the answers normally fall into one of three areas. And the first important key thing I want you to think about is that if your business isn't visible, and that doesn't matter whether it's an online platform, an offline platform, whether it's in print, whether it's on Google, if your business isn't visible, then the assumption under current trading conditions is that your business is out of business. That actually, because you can't be found, because you can't be seen, people expect you to be, unfortunately, a casualty of the pandemic, a casualty of coronavirus. So we have to make sure that whatever you're doing, you make sure that and ensure that your business can be seen on any format of marketing. And when we say any format, the one thing that we're seeing now is the complementary effect that online and offline has. If you'd have asked me 2 or 3 years ago, should I go left to do print marketing, for example, or go right to do digital marketing, I would have had to make a choice. I would have been forced down one of those two decision routes. Today, here on this webinar, if you ask me the very same question, so you take the left and the right, you bring the two together and build a really strong, cohesive online and offline multimedia plan. And that's really important. And thirdly, the one area that I've seen that has been a massive growth area is a concept called EAT. And the question I ask businesses is, does your business eat? And quite simply, EAT stands for expertise, authority, and trust. You have to make sure that whenever somebody sees some of your marketing, be it online or offline, that the adverts, the marketing piece that you put in front of them shows that you're an expert in the products and services that you provide, shows that you have some sort of authority in the business you interact with, and probably most importantly, you show that your business can be trusted. And the reason this is so important is that, this is the process that our brain goes through on a day-to-day basis when we're trying to make a buying decision about whether or not the business that we're looking at is the right one for us to interact with. But also, more importantly, EAT is at the heart of Google's algorithm, the formula, the equation that it goes through today in order to organize the results that we get when we carry out a search online. So just in a snapshot, please have a look at these three key areas from your business and just make sure that as we go into and out of hopefully the last lockdown that we have, that your business can be found. So let's move on now to have a look at really some key effects around choosing the right platform for us. And the reason that having the right platform is so important is that actually our online shopping habits are constantly changing. And what we're seeing now is that the ability to have a website that gives us convenience and availability of the products and services that you want to push is really, really important. Research has shown, up-to-date research has shown actually, that 73% of consumers, the people who are looking to buy your products and services, see digital online route as a primary shopping channel. And we know why. Just back to the points we just discussed, the change in marketplace over the last 10 months has almost forced them down that route. And as we're coming into a critical 2 or 3 months for a lot of businesses, November and December, we can see that almost half of UK consumers plan to do more shopping online for Christmas than they've ever done before. And as we're coming into Black Friday, what I'm actually calling now the Black Quarter, October, November, December, what we're actually seeing is that people are trying to do their online shopping even earlier as well. So making the decision to the right platform for you now is probably ever more prevalent. And when people are looking at their websites and how they can interact with an online shopping process, they want to make sure that the website they're looking at gives free, reliable delivery. Those are two of the most important features for an e-commerce platform. But what we're also seeing that food and household goods are seeing massive growth online at this moment in time. So if these are the sort of areas that your business works in, you have to have this online portal in order for you not only to interact, but probably most importantly for you to transact with your potential and your current clients. So moving forward now, if we have a look at two of the platforms that we know people use a lot these days, eBay and Amazon, it's probably a good starting point to start to look at the pros and cons of why we need to have an e-commerce platform. eBay and Amazon give us really good routes into that online portal and that online purchasing portal. And the pros around both of them are that they have great traffic already available to them that you can tap into and reaching potential new customers. They are trusted by the consumers who go on there because the marketing pound that they spend on a day-to-day, month-to-month basis means that the brands that they both have built are really top of mind. eBay and Amazon are two portals that we all go to when we're looking to procure products or services. If you want to get your business onto them, want to start looking at e-commerce transacting, it's quick and easy to get up to. And you know that from an Amazon point of view, that they'll actually fulfill it for you as well. So in many ways, it's a bit of a baby step for a lot of businesses into this online portal. But there are some cons, some things that you have to be aware of when looking at this as your first route to market. Firstly, they don't do it for nothing. There are fees, and if not hidden fees, there are fees that you have to pay every time somebody transacts with you. And for Amazon, it's 15%, and with eBay, it's a standard 10%. So you have to calculate that into your profit and loss when you're looking at the products you're looking to transact with. You don't have very much interaction with buyers. They're very clever portals in that they try and make the buying process really simple from the consumer point of view and actually take you out of the equation. So you're almost treated as a commodity transactor rather than a local business who may have a flavor, a voice that you want to get over to your audience. There can be potential payment issues that you need to look at. You need to make sure that the online transacting point is very easy to work with. And the product visibility is only down to and limited to what they're allowed to push. But for me, probably the biggest con out of all of this, and in a time where local businesses are actually gathering strength because consumers are looking to come to local businesses more and more these days, is that your brand visibility is really neglected. When somebody goes on looking for your product, if there are other comparative products that are available, Amazon and eBay will put them in front of people first. So the brand loyalty that you try and build is really difficult to keep going time and time again when somebody may come on next time. So you need to weigh up both the pros and the cons if this is the route that you want to follow. But we need to understand that there are a couple of other routes that I just want to talk about that you can look at when you're looking at setting up an e-commerce platform. And the first one we're going to look at is a WooCommerce platform. Now, WooCommerce is used a lot with WordPress websites, and WordPress is one of the most widely used globally platforms to build a website on. And again, as we've just seen with Amazon and eBay, there are pros and cons. One of the benefits of WooCommerce, and because it is a global e-commerce platform, is that there is limitless customization. It's been built and scaled to give great value for money for anybody going on there. It's 100% customizable. You know, you don't have to work to the templates that the Amazon and eBays give you. There are no transaction fees to WooCommerce as itself, but we need to have a look at that in a different way. And it's optimized for search engine optimization. So when Google is looking at your website, the WooCommerce plugin and the content and the wording, the way that it's built, because it is such a global phenomenon, has been built to try and maximize your visibility online. But again, there are some cons. It's not user-friendly. You normally need a WordPress or a WooCommerce technical expert to do it, or at the very least, you need to have the time to be able to go on and research it yourself or talk to their technical support teams who are there and available and very good in order to really get the most out of the platform. It takes time to set up. It's not a simple plug and play, although it is a plugin. It's not a plug and play. You need to get all your products and services built into it. And it's not built with sales or marketing features built in. Because it's consistently evolving, you need to also put time aside every month to make sure that the updates and the upgrades that you're working to within the plugin are maximized. And as with any other WordPress, WooCommerce platform, you need to pay for your hosting, security, and any other extensions that may come into it. But it is a popular route to market for e-commerce just because it is so widely used and so flexible for a lot of businesses today. But there is also a second alternative. And the second alternative is Shopify. And Shopify is a beginner-friendly e-commerce platform that has been built and evolved over a number of years purely for online transacting. The way that it looks, the way that it feels, the way that it's optimized is there to give the best user journey for your consumer, but also try and make it as simple as possible. It's beginner friendly for you as a new business. It's quick and easy to get up and running because the template's already built, ready for your market sectors. So whether you're a white goods e-commerce provider, whether you're an online shopping channel that you want to get to, there are templates built in readiness for your products and services. It has some real neat features like cart abandonment. So one of the frustrating things with e-commerce platforms are people who go down the user journey, put a product into the cart ready to buy, then either have a bit of buyer's remorse or actually get distracted by somebody else around and never actually go through to that final stage. They have some great tools that interact with the people who leave those products into the cart just to remind them that it's there and say, hey, what about buying that product that you looked at last night? They are fully secure. They have that security behind them, especially when we're looking at online transactions. And they've got great 24/7 customer support. It is templated. It is quite easy to use, but there are questions that we all have, especially when we're going into new platforms. On the negative, on the con side, there are transaction fees, similar to what we said about Amazon and eBay, not to that sort of extent. They are a lot lower, but you have to look into how much interaction, how much purchasing is going to go through your platform so you can understand what the fees are going to look like. There are less extensions than the WooCommerce platform, but again, you need to make sure that everything's refreshed on a month-to-month basis. Over time, you will learn how to do that yourself, but you will need to put time aside to put those plugins correct on a day-to-day basis. And there are a number of templates. It's not fully customizable, as we saw with WooCommerce, but there's a lot you can do with it. And don't forget, it has been built for thousands and thousands of users globally who successfully transact online on a day-to-day basis. So to move on now, what are we going to look at when we look at each of these things? Which should you use? So just as a nice brief summary, eBay and Amazon are there for speed and easy access, and probably there for market entrance. But be aware, there are some hefty fees that you have to pay. They don't do for nothing. WooCommerce is around for people who have a bit more technical knowledge, have a website which is built to last and evolve over time. And WooCommerce will give you that flexibility to build an e-commerce platform that you want not only now, but one that you're going to want to grow in the future. And probably the middle ground is Shopify. It's a platform that has been built for e-commerce from day one. It is templated. You do get 24-hour 7 support, but there are some smaller hidden fees that you need to also account for. But you don't need the technical knowledge that you would do with WooCommerce. So there's some quick, easy tips for you to look at when we're looking at the right platform. And when we're looking at best practice from any e-commerce platform, probably the four things to remember at this stage are, with any e-commerce site, imagery is key. The number of clients I've worked with who've sent over images and in the background there's a pot of paint, or the backgrounds to all of the goods that they're trying to sell have different colored backgrounds. It just doesn't look great. So whenever you're looking to create an e-commerce platform, look at not only the images you're taking, but the surrounding for those images. Because we've talked earlier about SEO and the way you can optimize your website, the content that you write on that site needs to be well written. It needs to have great descriptions, because if you're looking at, say, a Google shopping campaign to complement it, all of that content will be pulled from the product feed that you have with the products and services that you put onto your site. So make sure you spend that time writing the content in a way that reads well, is succinct, and to the point. We talked about product feeds and filtering. There's nothing worse on an e-commerce site than a real clunky filtering process. I was talking with Natalie yesterday about a site she was looking at, and she was just talking to me that actually she went away from the site because it was really difficult to filter down to the exact product or group of products she was looking for. So just think about the user journey, what we call the UX, the user experience, when you're building your e-commerce site. And finally, bringing it right back to the start, talking about the content. Make sure that when you write the content for your site, not just for the descriptions, but the body content that goes around talking about you, your business, make sure it's got the EAT. Make sure on as many pages as possible, you tell and show your clients or your potential clients, you're the expert in the products and services you provide. You have authority in the information you're providing them with. You can be trusted. If you stick to these very 4 simple points and you choose the right platform that meets the requirements for your business, now is the time for you to get onto that e-commerce bandwagon. Because as we said earlier, people aren't only just looking online now. We're moving into a world where people need to transact online. Thanks everyone for their time. And I'm going to now look at turning things over to Natalie, who's going to just look at talking to you about turning visitors into customers.
Yeah, thanks, Craig. That was really helpful, and hopefully some useful tips for people who are looking to start selling online. There are also a couple of points that I wanted to mention. So if you are driving traffic to your website and you do want to turn these visitors into customers, it's important to just make sure that you've got really clear call to action so people know exactly what it is that you want them to do and how they can purchase. Make the checkout process really easy. So again, it's that UX that Craig mentioned earlier. And also the abandoned cart re-engagement is so important, which is why it's good that platforms like Shopify kind of include all that in it already. Okay, so what we are doing for the next couple of months is an offer with Shopify. So it's so quick to get online. So if you're looking to kind of get your business selling online for Christmas or for the New Year sales, this package might be good for you for just $8.99. You get a Shopify website which is professionally built. We set up all the abandoned cart features and make sure the checkout experience is really good, so you kind of get our professional input. And then we can also drive traffic to it. As Craig mentioned with eBay and everything, you kind of get that audience there already, but with Shopify you need to build that out And we can do that with high impact display across local news sites and targeted Facebook ads. So just go to our website if you'd like more detail on that. And if you're looking for more tips and advice, we've done a whole series of webinars over the past few months, from sort of how to, your guide to PPC, how to get your business found in Google, and how to get more sales from your website in more detail. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, and thanks, Craig.
Thanks, Natalie.
Yeah, we'll hopefully see you again for another webinar.